Hi, I'm Jenny, and in this video I want to answer all of your burning Datejust questions like which size should I pick, how does it wear over time, which dial configuration works best, and many more, so let's get started. When getting into watches, sooner or later everyone stumbles upon the Datejust, right? Well, and so did I. I know there are a lot of Datejust videos out there, so at this point I want to spare you a retelling of the Datejust history, but in case you want to read up on it, I will link some sources for you down below. The Rolex Datejust model is also one of the most popular Rolex watches ever, and besides the Submariner, probably the one that is clocked as Rolex by most people outside of the hobby. And so, given its popularity and all the reasons behind it, many find themselves, including me, asking the question whether or not to spend the money on this. And as you can tell by the title, I did spend the money on it. It's no secret that I love my watch, but I also ran into trouble with this one. Shortly after I got it, I have noticed that the date switch happened at exactly 3 a.m. in the morning instead of 12, how it should be. And I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't disappointed by it. It's strange to think that such an obvious flaw wasn't detected in Rolex's quality control, so I took it to my AD, and thanks to my warranty, they fixed it for free within like 1 or 2 weeks or so, and then I got it back again. So in this video, I want to give you my perspective on the Datejust after wearing it for almost a whole year. I'll let you in on the good, the bad, and the ugly, and share my full factors you should take into consideration before buying one. Okay, let's start right away with the first point of the 4 on my list. Make sure to choose wisely when it comes to the dial. Keeping up with all the dial variations on a Datejust is like trying to keep up with Omega's Speedmaster editions. That's just impossible. Though I think a great variety to choose from is initially a very good thing, it can also lead to some real regrets, so let me tell you what I mean by that. You can get your Datejust not only with all sorts of different dial colors and finishings and patterns, but you can also pick and choose how you want your indices to look like. Though your first instinct might be to just go for, let's say, your favorite color, for example, I want you to consider the following 2 things when choosing your dial configuration. Number 1, the color of the dial is going to have an influence on how big or small your watch is going to look like. You have to keep in mind that due to the bezel and case design of the Datejust, a light colored dial is going to make the watch look bigger. A darker colored dial is going to make it look a bit smaller in comparison. So in case you want to go, for example, for a 36mm Datejust, but you have rather small wrists like me, I suggest trying on some darker dial colors and compare it to lighter ones so you can see how it will affect the look of it on your arm. And number 2, you want to think twice about the hour markers. I think most of you would agree with me on this when I say that hour markers and their look can make or break a watch, right? And the Datejust is no exception to that, of course. You can get stick hour markers, you can get Roman numerals, you can get the train track minute marking, but there's also diamonds, sticks with pips, etc. So you're not spoiled for choice here, but what many forget is how that choice is going to impact the functionality of your watch on a day-to-day basis. So I went a little bit overboard and got diamond hour markers on my Datejust. And don't get me wrong, I love them. I totally get that some may find them gaudy, but as I only live once, I want to make sure to have a little fun every now and then, you know. But every once in a while, I get a bit annoyed by them. Not because of the sparkle, but because I am missing any type of luminous material on my dial. My Blackberry 58 is perfectly legible when it gets dark, but my Datejust totally fails me in that situation. And though it isn't the end of the world, I was a bit surprised to find out how much it actually bothers me, so make sure to keep functionality in mind. What's especially cool about the Datejust is not only its sheer endless amount of configurations, but also the range of prices the watch offers. Depending on the year and size, you can get a Datejust starting from about €1,500. So as soon as you decide that you want to buy a Datejust, the next question is almost always, am I going to buy vintage or brand new? I myself went for a new Datejust for a very specific reason, but I think that especially vintage Datejusts can be very impressive too. So let me give you a quick rundown of the pros and cons to both. So let's start right away with vintage first. Well, first and foremost, most vintage Datejust costs less than new ones, which shouldn't come as the biggest surprise, so that's a good thing, as that is obviously something that saves you money. Though they are mostly pre-owned and therefore worn, many love them for their rough looks. Some watches might have some slight issues with their movement, so maybe you have to treat them a bit more carefully when setting the watch, for example. But one of the best things about a Rolex is that those watches are built fantastically well, and they're probably going to outlive you anyways. On the other side, you also have to deal with all the bracelets and clasps from Rolex, and some older models can show some serious stretch on their bracelet, and those old clasps weren't the best either. Additionally, you have to be a bit more careful about water. Some vintage watches have been opened or repaired in some shape or form and have not been put back together properly, leaving you with a watch that might not withstand water as good as you think it is. With brand new Datejusts, you get to be the first and perhaps also the last one to start the story of that watch. You get the latest oyster case with its perfectly polished flanks and lugs, as well as either a fluted white gold, a diamond set, or a stainless steel domed bezel. Rolex has also improved their bracelets and clasps and has also updated their movement in some case sizes. But a new Datejust also comes with a price tag that is new, so being the first one to wear it comes at a certain premium price. Additionally, some dislike this brand new look on watches in general, so if that's the case, you'd be better off with a vintage Datejust, obviously. But keep in mind, a brand new Rolex gives you a 5-year warranty directly from Rolex. I know usually pre-owned sellers also offer warranties, but I like it when it comes directly from the manufacturer. And as you can tell by the title of this video, I had to make use of that warranty, and I am very happy that it went so well. So no matter how you choose, you should be aware of the pros and cons to both sides, so you can make sure to make the most of your watch. I went for a new one because I've picked the Datejust to be my wedding watch, and to commemorate that event I had it engraved with my husband's and my initials. I just wanted to make sure that this watch perfectly captures that certain time in my life. So I did talk about the bracelet before, mainly about the differences in terms of age and finishing, like stretch and shaky clasps. So you know the pros and cons of this. But one thing that honestly shocked me after wearing my watch for almost a year, and I think everyone should know that, is this. The Jubilee bracelet is seriously the most forgiving type of bracelet when it comes to scratches. As you can see by the scratches on my case, I tend to bump my watch against things from time to time. It's not voluntarily, obviously, but you know, it happens. And it's also something I knew was going to happen, so that had an actual influence on my bracelet decision. Because you can get the Datejust on either an Oyster or a Jubilee bracelet, and if you're into it, you could also get a 31mm Datejust on a President bracelet. But that might be a smidge too small for most, I guess. So bear in mind, a bracelet on a Datejust is not only a look-based decision, but also to consider in terms of how clumsy you might be. Plus, the Jubilee is also one of the most comfortable bracelets I have ever worn. I'd even say it's more comfortable than the Oyster bracelet, especially for smaller wrists, as the smaller links from the Jubilee do a better job in sort of hugging your wrist. And as you can see here, I managed to get my Datejust on the Jubilee with the hidden clasp before it got discontinued, so to me that's even a bigger win. Okay, so point number 4 is really quickly covered. I can wholeheartedly say that when it comes to picking a case size, if you're unsure what size would work best for you, try on the 36mm. It's not only the original size in which the Datejust debuted in 1945, it's also big or small enough to fit almost every wrist size. Even for bigger wrist circumferences, I'd recommend going for a smaller watch size, simply because it fits the overall look and feel of the watch so well. It has always been a very classic watch, and its initial configuration with the coin bezel on the Jubilee bracelet is the epitome of a classy gentleman's wristwatch to me. So I think oversizing this specific watch on your wrist takes away from its original charm. At the end, this comes down to personal preference, but if you want to be on the safe side, I'd always recommend going for a smaller size Datejust. Okay, so now that you're aware of what to take into consideration before buying your first Datejust, let me give you a summary of my personal experience and things I have learned about my watch within the last 12 months. I am absolutely in love with my Datejust. Not only do I think that the 36mm are the perfect size for my wrist, I am also really happy about the Jubilee bracelet, as I managed to get the one with the hidden clasp shortly before Rolex discontinued it. In my opinion, a fluted bezel and a Jubilee bracelet is the only way to go for a Datejust. That being said, I was surprised to find out how flashy that configuration actually is. I went for a monochrome look on purpose, wanting to add the diamonds to, jazz it up a bit, but I totally underestimated the flashiness of the bezel and bracelet. So on a regular day, honestly, I'm more likely to go for my Seiko or Black Bay 58. And so now every time I put the watch on, it really does feel like a treat. The Jubilee fits comfortably and I don't have to worry about scratches too much. It's also pretty remarkable in terms of timekeeping, as it runs with +1 second per day. The warranty issue at the beginning did disappoint me, but I was happy to see that it didn't take long to get fixed. So all in all, I had a bit of a bumpy start with my watch and was surprised to find out that it is more in your face as I thought it would be, but after a year I found out on which occasions this watch works best for me, and it has also influenced my watch purchases after that. And so that was it for this video. I hope I could help those who are thinking about buying their first Datejust to make the right decision for themselves. And to all the Datejust owners out there, what is your take on that watch? What is your long-term experience? As always, let me know in the comments down below. And now all I'm left to say is thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.